Hi everyone. Welcome to our podcast, AI and Design Conversations, where we explore the intersection of AI, design, and creativity. I'm Deniz Kurt, a media artist and creative technologist, and I'm thrilled today to be joined by Refik Anadol, a globally renowned media artist and the pioneer in the field of AI art. Refik is known for his groundbreaking work that blurs the lines between art, science, and technology. His art installations and performances have been featured in major museums and galleries around the world, including the likes of Victoria and Albert Museum, MoMA, Ars Electronica, and Istanbul Modern. Refik's unique approach to art combines data, machine intelligence, and creative storytelling to create immersive, site-specific experiences that challenge our perceptions of reality. His work often features AI-generated visuals, soundscapes, and sculptures that are responsive to the environment and the viewers. With a deep passion for exploring the intersection of technology and art, Refik has become one of the most sought-after media artists of our time. With his revolutionary and innovative installations, thought-provoking projects, Refik has pushed the boundaries of what's possible with AI, and we are so excited to dive deep into his creative process, insights, and inspirations. This episode, we are going to explore Refik's journey as an artist and his current projects and his thought on the role of AI in art and design. So without further ado, let's welcome Refik Anadol to our podcast. So sit back, relax, and get ready to be inspired by the cutting-edge world of AI, art, and design. Welcome again, Refik.
Thank you very much, Deniz. Thank you for inviting.
And it's been a very big pleasure to have you here today and talk with you, also personally for me, as you have been my idol for many years.
Oh, thank you.
So I will start with my questions, maybe a little bit about you first. Can you tell us a little bit about your background and how you got interested in media art and AI? Of course, I noticed a little bit your journey with Blade Runner and Frank Gehry appreciation, because it's a shared fandom for me as well. But I want to listen this from you.
Yes, so I think I was pretty much aware of I love computation very early ages. I got my first computer, I was 8 years old, as an incredible gift from my family. And I believe that was my first encounter with this fascinating imagination with machines, I will say. I would say becoming a nerd is something fun, but becoming a friend with a computer is a different thinking when it comes to AI. But I would say since 8 years old, I've been really enjoying about thinking with machines, computation, algorithms, games. I have been playing games addictively to end of high school, and still I'm playing games a lot.
Likewise.
But I think these virtual worlds were always inspiring. But I think 2008, in my end of undergrad years to my new grad, 2008-9, that where I just have started profoundly think about to be able to become a media artist and work with computation and code and data. They were just becoming more clear. And I'm very grateful for someone we lost, Peter Weibel. So Peter Weibel, who was running the ZKM, the founder and the pioneer media artist and the museum director, he was teaching him and Bernard Zerekse, his colleague, the curator colleague. Together, they were co-teaching a class at Istanbul Bilgi University, where I got my undergrad and a master MFA degree. And he was a very much vital source because 2008-9, that's where exactly I witnessed what is media art means. And I was able to help to install a massive installations, a museum installation with 300 artworks. And that's exactly where I exposed to media art from the pioneers, the source, and I couldn't stop thinking about media art since then. And I started using a software called VVVV, and now in almost all my works, the software is in the fundamental, an incredible community of developers, creators. But I will say 2012 for my second journey in US, where I start my second MFA at UCLA Design Media Arts Department, I will say another whole life started by moving to Los Angeles, California. And thanks to Casey Rias, I think, as we all know, his incredible work with processing and Ben Fry, and him as a mentor completely changed also my thinking about data and eventually AI. But 2008, I was able to coin the term data painting in a class with Koray Tahiroğlu. He's an incredible another person in Aalto University. He was teaching pure data a super inspiring software. And that's where I think I got obsessed with data and I never stopped last 14 years.
That's amazing. I think it's also related, like I can see your passion for data, of course, in your works. And I see that, for instance, neuroscience and architecture are important fields for you in terms of data, because of course there's a relation between them also with art and culture studies and computer science, because when you look into architecture, you see a collective memory there. And with neuroscience as well, like with the data, you do a similar thing, like from the individual data, you reach upon to a collective memory there. So can you maybe describe some of your most notable works that you have been mentioning a little bit, like machine hallucinations or living architecture in Casabatio? I think that was one of the most recent ones.
Definitely. I think I'm also very grateful for another point in time that 2016, actually 2015, it was the very first time we saw the Deep Dream or Inception network and its result through the Google Friends. And that blog post, I think, inspired many people, like seeing these hallucinative images of animals and like looks like back propagation most likely. And then that triggered, I think, many people's imagination about like, what is this? Like, is this how AI can create and imagine and dream? But to me, I think it was always a dream to be able to work with AI, but I'm not a computer scientist. I don't have a background on like understanding super complex part of AI in general, deep neural networks. But I'm always inspired by this idea of one day machine can hopefully become a machine that can think or learn, is not just a research area. 2016 February, very grateful for friends at Google, Blaise Aguirre Arcas, Mike Taika, and Karen McDowell. I was able to start my very first artist residency at Google. So 2016 February was my, I guess, most incredible time with incredible people, like asking, hey, here's AI, and what you would like to do with AI. I mean, that's a dream question for an artist back in time. And now, I mean, 7 years feels like 70 years with AI. But it was an incredible moment. And I just asked a question in this topic of creativity. If a machine can learn, can it hallucinate? Can it dream? I think that was just much more inspiring to me than just an AI mimicking reality. I think reality itself is fantastic to be alive, but I was just much more inspired about alternative realities which we don't perceive, but that exist, but doesn't like visible. I guess making invisible visible is always the fundamental expectation for me to use algorithms and computation in life. But using AI to mimic dreams and hallucinations and fantasies that are not necessarily real, but maybe real, was much more inspiring as an artist to explore. I guess since then, which was Archive Dreaming, by the way, as far as I know, 2016, the project is very much the very first example of using AI in public space. The project was very much a big moment for our studio. By the way, I'm not alone. Just to remind you, I have amazing team members right now. We are 15 people, can speak 15 languages, and represent 10 countries. A beautiful group of people imagining together. So I'm grateful for every of them. They are my giants. But back in time, we were, I think, 11 people, actually 10 people, and then including me and my wife. And then we become very slowly, very carefully become a bigger team. But we are not like, rushing to become a large team. We are really fundamental. Everyone has their own technical expectation. But that residency was incredible checkpoint and triggered me to start this project called Machine Hallucinations. So that became a data pigmentation of generative AIs. I mean, now GANs are ancient looking, but actually they are extremely, to me, still more fun than certain diffuse models, glitchy and, very stepped low. Anyway, but so I think that algorithm were really fascinating me. And Ian Goodfellow, who is the inventor of GAN algorithms, were at Google. It was an amazing time. And then also I'm super inspired by lower dimension reduction, specifically TSNE algorithm, which was allowing us to use the embeddings of the machine learning algorithm, which is X dimensions, 10, 24 dimensions, whatever dimension, but projecting back that dimensions into a three-dimensional universe was allowing us to see what machine learned from and correlating what machine learned and what it dreams to me is a fundamental new ways of seeing life. And that became, I will say, last 7 years in different levels with different data sets became the journey. But the most notable work through AI and architecture is, of course, Frank Gehry's Disney Hall, which is Disney Hall Dreams. The project is so important to me because Frank Gehry is a hero, a living legend of architecture. And I don't believe he's an architect. He's an artist, just sculpts buildings that we live inside. And these sculptures are beyond just, no offense to architecture, but not just for a functioning sheltering us or, putting a bunch of functions. And so to me, his works are beyond that. And I knew when I moved to Los Angeles 2012, this building can be one of those incredible space to give a life. Let it dream and hallucinate. And so funny, 2013, I was on a stage at Microsoft Research as a student, and I was able to ask this question way before my residency, 3 years before the residency, on a stage and say, one day the buildings will dream. And I do believe that it's possible with AI. And I want to make a thesis, make a MFA thesis about this idea. And thanks to Bill Gates and his team, I got a major award from Microsoft Research, academic award, which allowed me to get my first computers and first gears, projectors to start the studio. This is, I think, residency at Google and also Disney Hall project. These are very important moments in time and space for me.
This story is really amazing and super inspirational for me to hear, definitely. Because it's also a little bit reminds me of course, like the path of myself as a media artist as well. How you try to connect these things like dreaming and machines. Because also when I was listening to you, I was getting a lot of flashbacks as well. Because Mike Taika and Blaise Aguirre Arcas, they have been also like big inspirations for me. And I remember one of the interviews of Blaise Aguirre Arcas, he was mentioning that how machines dream and how they imagine. And he was comparing this process with human mind and neuroscience. We learn a lot actually from how we deal with data in terms of AI and machine learning and apply this to neuroscience and vice versa. Like I can say that the more we understand our brains, the more we understand AI, and also when we understand AI, we understand our brains as well. So I think it's very groundbreaking in this sense. And you mentioned, I want to get back to that because it was also one of my questions actually, in terms of data sculpting in the field of computational creativity. And of course, this field is disrupted a lot right now by GPT and GPT-3 and 4 right now. But yeah, as you mentioned, there's much more to that in the space of AI art than text to image. StyleGAN is a very overlooked methodology, but I'm also very old school in terms of AI art. I think the data is beautiful. Collecting that data and creating something with StyleGAN is still, I think, my favorite form of AI art, to be honest. So it's nice for me to hear that you're also sharing the same feeling as well. You, in the meantime, answered some of my questions, but I want to take this discussion also a little bit into the philosophical field. How do you see AI in terms of artistic creativity? Can you share your thoughts a little bit whether AI can be creative?
Yes, I think so. I would say AI's creativity is not itself creative to me. AI is, again, just a tool that is just enhances our cognitive capacity. I don't see it as like a threat. I don't see it as like a desirable other options for human creativity yet. At the moment, I think we are just dumping, I guess, collective memories of humanity at the moment through like with or without getting permissions, and then people are constantly creating this bunch of products and services. And I do believe, so first of all, as an artist, I create my own models. I collect my own data. I believe that this is the way to be aware of ethical context and what I do and why I do. Of course, it's a privilege to have a computation power and know-how to create a model from scratch. But I do believe this is a very important part of having the awareness of what and why we do as artists and creators. But at the moment, I'm seeing it as an incredible, powerful tool, a powerful tool that has the most cutting edge things that we don't even know how to ask yet. So it's just an unknown journey that is just starting publicly, but it has started many years ago for many artists. In my humble opinion, AI and specifically generative AI, let's call it like that because now people are calling the entire latent space interactions as generative AI. anyone can interact with latent space to create generative AI outputs, I believe they are most likely very close to the fall into this comfort zone very quickly. Because I believe the challenge of becoming an artist is not just prompt engineering or being able to interact in a predictable way of bunch of words or other things. I do believe interaction within the latent space is just one step. There are more steps beyond interacting with the latent space, and I hope people can be aware of that. It is not another comfort zone, another simple way of creating things that most likely have no value unless there is an artistic interpretation of the collaboration. So this is a very clear part to me that, especially working at MoMA with incredible art curators Michel Coe and Paolo Antonelli, I had these very deep discussions last 2 years while we are training our model with entire MoMA archive, which is a GitHub ready incredible open source data. I had very deep conversations with curators who have been defining the future of mediums. And I saw it very clearly there. And creating from scratch a new algorithm, new approach, new interaction model, new ways of seeing is 100% necessary for breakthroughs and make distinct, statements about creativity. So AI is just a tool, not necessarily creative solution yet, only creative solution. It still requires human intervention. It requires human intelligence. I do believe when human and machine intelligence comes together, that's where excitement and breakthroughs may happen. That's my take. And that's what I do last 7 years to prove this.
Yeah, I can put my signature to everything that you just said, especially the artistic interpretation and also creating your own models. I think that's really important also for the discussions around plagiarism, around AI ethics. Because the next question was going to be actually your ideas about prompt engineering, but I also hear them and I love what I'm hearing as well. Maybe this is also a nice point before we finish to ask you, how do you see the latest developments in the text-to-image field and the generative AI? Because there's a new era that we are stepping into, and the impact of GPT in the field of art and design is very disruptive. And there is an ongoing discussion between the tech titans and AI ethicists at the moment. There's a new petition signed by Elon Musk, Yuval Harari, and Steve Wozniak. Sam Altman was also has been speaking loudly about it lately. Also, in the meantime, AI ethicists are seeing this as a PR move because they are saying that doomsaying about AI, like pausing AI, is actually making AI more marketable. So I'm curious, what's your opinion about this huge debate?
Yes. So I think, just to be super, accurate, I'm very confident to say that many people who have been pushing the boundaries, Google, NVIDIA, of course, OpenAI, I have a very, very wonderful relationship with people behind many research. So I'm really grateful for the people who have been researching and their thoughtful questions. So we have a Slack channel with OpenAI, literally. And we have been very fortunate to work with DALL-E in many stages. And we worked with Zaha Hadid Architects last year, way before.
Amazing.
Last May, we made the first DALL-E experiments, text to image, and then we 3D model those environments last year. So we got access end of 21. And from 21 to 22 summer, we have been exploring these text to image diffuse models, OpenAI's models. And then it became public and so on and so on. So we were very lucky to become very early explorers of this new latent space. They are very thoughtful people. They have been working so deeply and purposefully, trying to be sure that what they do is not rushing a product and make confusion for the public. So I want to just say it very loudly that they have been really, really thoughtfully working. Same for NVIDIA, same for Google friends and DeepMind friends. But I think it's a revolution at the end of the day. These models are becoming a new way of imagining, new way of remembering, new way of dreaming, new way of creating and learning and pretty much applying things to life as quick as possible. So they are most likely becoming more practical tools for reality. But at the end of the day, this petition is, to me, so meaningless because AI research is like a flying plane. And the question was, can we change the motors while we are flying? I think it's not wise to ask these questions now. It should be 2 years ago when the very first we were seeing diffuse models. And 2 years ago, it should be done, not now. It feels like a show than true and deep and meaningful and purposeful letter. I feel like it is just someone to say, slow down, I need to speed up my research. It feels like something else than ethically asking questions from heart. So I don't believe it's possible to stop anything at all, with a letter or without letter. I don't even believe in regulations that can be done in this stage quickly. But we definitely need regulations. We definitely need ethical like boards. We definitely need ways of explaining these tools. It's 100% clear to me that many fields will be disrupted for sure. I'm not a wishful thinker. I don't want to just act like saying just positive things. Things may go wrong. It's a ramifications that may happen. But I just want to be sure we should not cancel something that has more potential than negativity. It has much powerful elements of enhancing humanity. And that will be so sad because we have some bad or negative or dangerous thoughts should not be the reason of stopping something very powerful. But I think it's at the end, the model I apply when thinking this AI is just a mirror. I believe in humanity. I am a good human. I want to be the best of myself and I want to be a good human for my life. I don't see any problem. But there are people that will not do that. But because they are there, it doesn't make sense because they exist that we cannot use this. It just doesn't make sense to me. So it just has to be regulated in a way that can predict what may go wrong is a great model, but not stopping it, not pausing it. That letter should be talking about very clearly how to create new regulations from scratch. And that doesn't allow people to do like plagiarism or other problems. Like I had a very deep conversation with an ArtStation artist who just said that like, I don't want to be in this diffuse model. I don't want to be an artist giving an aesthetic reasons for certain outputs. I spend my 3 months to make a one scene and now a person in 3 seconds plots an image on a Discord channel. It's not fair to me. He's right. Like there is no single word or an argument you can give this person. It's impossible. And I'm very excited to hear that, answer if anyone has this intelligence that we are missing. I'm happy to hear. Like this person is offended by an AI that mimics his artistic style, his earning of life, his body of work. So when I heard this, I just cut very clear directions in my research and approach that I need a clean, clear, ethical data set with a clean, clear model. So this has to be talked widely and loudly. I mean, of course, people took some great actions and they took out certain things from the text clip, but it's just later. It's just like the style of training and getting out things, the speed that is necessary for breakthroughs, the rush for getting the whatever next multi-billion parameter version. I feel like the rush is so much that I don't believe people are thinking deep enough. So this is the only part I feel a little bit more and more concerned. But at the meantime, the amount of creativity we are seeing, the amount of apps that is coming every single moment, it's just remarkable. Yeah, I have mixed feelings, but I'm a positive and optimist, and I believe in humanity, and I believe the good things will always find a way to make it happen. But we have to be careful because we will question creativity.
Definitely. It's a little bit like this two edges sharp knife, this democratization of AI. Because on the one hand, like you said, there has been amazing creations with the democratization of these diffusion models at the AI tools. And also OpenAI is openly open source since they started with their manifest is also about democratization of AI and regulations. I think, I'm also having mixed feelings about this, and maybe it's a little bit late right now because the speed, the pace of AI and GPT at the moment is too fast to pause, I think. With this, we didn't have much time, but I want to ask you one last question about we also talked a little bit about your predictions with the future AI applications. And do you have any suggestions for the new coming media artists that are inspired by you a lot, including myself, and also your favorite computational art tools?
Yeah, I mean, first of all, I think I have many, many, many inspiring people in my journey. But again, I need to go back to Peter Weibel, who was really essential and who really opened the brain, put so many great thoughts. And then I want to really come back again to Casey Rias, who really influenced me and our studio. His work and his approach to software and democratization and creating an incredible community in the processing foundation. I mean, these are remarkable inspirations for many creative minds. But I guess my still creative tool to go since 2008 is VVVV. I mean, it's a really inspiring community and it doesn't need to write a single line of code to go deeper and deeper. It feels very much connected with many ideas about data. And recently at MoMA Peace, unsupervised, we use entire VVV to interact with AI models and putting like live camera, sound, and weather data. We do live UI UX. It's just a I think it compiles a lot of things. But I also love Unreal Engine. I don't want to lie that the game engines are very powerfully going forward. And then Houdini. I mean, Houdini is a very powerful software where we go much deeper in do computer graphics. And of course, Unreal Engine. I guess these tools are, for sketching any artworks we are currently creating. Unreal Engine is like 100% the place to like first imagine and create sketches.
What about Touch Designer?
I never use Touch, but I know it's very common for many friends. I'm seeing a lot of great applications, but I never use personally for any project. But I know it's very common and have been respected from a community in general. But it's it's a similar mindset, I will say. Like, visual programming languages are, I guess, very friendly for people who doesn't need to code but needs a logic. Logic imaginations are, I don't know, I see with that mindset so much things last couple of years, unfortunately, the works get so heavy. I don't have 18, 20 hours of programming or whatever anymore. But still, visual programming languages are much more powerful for communicating across different groups and, work with purposefully and meaningfully. So there are many advantages of using visual programming language.
Yeah, definitely. And I was actually also, whenever I go to one of your installations, the last one I saw in Koenig Gallery in Berlin, I was trying to reverse engineer your process a little bit. Of course, I know from the interviews that I previously watched of you, but I was also seeing the trails of a little bit Houdini in the visual style, and also Unreal Engine. I was thinking with the pixel pigmentation is useful, right, for the 3D pigmentation, I think.
So that's one of the reasons, like, I think it's a very common pattern last 7 years since we started using AI. Every single project we use AI and data, we always demystify the back, process, like being sure that we mention where data comes from, being sure that we responsibly explain the algorithm we use, completely demystify many parts of it. While it's not normal in the art history that artist never generally shares its process, which also creates some, copycat problems. But I believe this is a very important responsibility for artists working with AI. It's a very powerful tool, powerful approach. It needs 100% clarity. I love to be able to share what is behind. And I think it made a very big impact for our audience, where people felt safe and secure, that they are aware of what they are seeing and there's a clarity. And they felt, I think, way safer than just looking and wandering around the piece. That's, I believe, one of the reasons our work, like in Berlin or Hong Kong or New York, Florence or wherever it goes, it has a similar impact. I believe this 7 years of decision made sense, finally, to see the connection with our audience in a beautiful setting.
Definitely. And also in your website, also to say to our audience too, as a person who was very inspired by you, I was looking into your website, to your works, and I was able to find actually your process. Like you said, what kind of data you used, what kind of progress and programs that you used. So I really like this approach of transparency and openness as well. I think it's definitely worth mention. I know that you have to go. If you have any other things to add?
Thank you very much for time. I believe it's a very powerful moment for humanity to be witnessing such a big shift in the human intelligence, witnessing machine intelligence. I think these dialogues are super powerful and important for people coming in the game later. And those people, I hope, that will create more impact and let them ask questions deeper before diving into just what is available. And again, as always, I think remembering our heroes, mentors, and teachers are fundamental for a meaningful and purposeful life. So hope to connect more in anywhere in the world soon.
Thank you very much. That's super inspiring and amazing to talk with you. And that's it for today's episode for our podcast. We hope you enjoyed our conversation with Refik Anadol about AI, design, and creativity. If you have any questions, comments, or suggestions for future episodes, please don't hesitate to reach out to us. If you want to learn more about Refik's work and upcoming projects, you can find him on his website, social media, and his next exhibition. Thank you for listening, and we will see you next time.